Right now at noon, a look at protests across the 4 states as communities take part in No King's Day demonstrations.
And temperatures warming up, skies clearing out. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, President Trump takes part in the G7 summit, but the missile attacks between Israel and Iran loom over it.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. The Coffeyville City Commissioner has stepped down following community backlash to a social media post. In the now deleted post, former Commissioner Don Edwards detailed an encounter he allegedly had with children at the City Aquatic Center. In a response, community members accused Edwards of making sexually harassing comments about young women. Along with his resignation, Edwards says he's no longer seeking re-election. In his resignation letter to the commission, Edwards apologized, saying, quote, "The comment in question has caused a lot of upset in our community and is a distraction from the many positive things happening at the City of Coffeyville." In a statement, the Coffeyville mayor says the statements made by Edwards do not reflect the values, beliefs, or standards of the City of Coffeyville. She says the City Commission, quote, "strives to create an environment that is respectful, inclusive, and safe for all our residents, especially our children." At a meeting last week, commissioners appointed former Commissioner Pam Jones to fill the position. And the city of Knoll, Missouri rescinds the transfer of a job position just ahead of a planned protest. Thursday, the city announced that Rhonda Wise will be transferred to a newly created parks position by the mayor. Wise is facing felony perjury charges in connection with the Missouri State Highway Patrol investigation of a fatal hit and run. A public protest had been planned for Friday morning at 10 in response to the transfer of Wise. Now at 10 Friday morning, the city released a statement saying the city council had met and voted to rescind the transfer of Rhonda Wise to the roles of code enforcement and events administrator, a newly created position. The protest did not happen and organizers declined to speak on camera. Now the mayor has also been contacted for a statement. As of now, his office has yet to respond. Now let's head over to Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
After some patchy, dense fog this morning, skies gradually began to clear. Look, from downtown Pittsburgh earlier this morning, you can see where we were, just straight up cloudy, and a great view of some of that fog burning off this morning from the MoDOT camera 20th and range line, so that kind of blends in with the other clouds out there, but certainly a unique view. As for temperatures on Sunday, we started at 68, a little above normal. We made it to 81, so actually a little below normal. Now, of course, our average high is increasing, obviously, the further we get into June, now up to 86, so we're not that bad temperature-wise. Save tomorrow, where it's going to get around 90, and then we got heat index values we got to worry about tomorrow as well. Outside of that, skies will continue to clear. They'll remain clear through most of the evening and overnight hours, back down to the low 70s by 11 o'clock tonight. Then clouds turn around. They'll start to increase after 3 a.m. and then our thunderstorm chances begin to increase, and we are looking at the possibility of some severe weather as well. Well, details on all that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So nationwide No King's Day protests were all over the country on Saturday, including right here in the 4 states. Citizens in Pittsburgh gathered at the Pritchett Pavilion to protest recent actions made by President Donald Trump, including his military parade in Washington, D.C. Now, the city's protest was organized by the Crawford County Democrats. The rally's purpose was to bring together individuals with similar ideals.
Just having solidarity, seeing that there's other people with the same mindset and wanting to be more active in their communities. To me, this isn't necessarily a protest. It's an opportunity for people to get together and make a difference in their communities.
Now, the gathering did remain peaceful throughout the event. Well, from Kansas to Missouri, people also gathering to protest in Carthage. About 200 gathered Saturday afternoon in Carthage at Central Park along Garrison Avenue. It was a very peaceful gathering with people of all ages, ethnicities, and backgrounds. Police were nearby, but not needed. A baby born after her mother was shot and killed in Lebanon has also died. Reagan Wilson was 39 weeks pregnant when she was gunned down 1 week ago. The family estimates more than 2,000 people attended Wilson's service and burial. Her stepfather is a trooper with the Missouri State Highway Patrol, which provided an escort. Governor Mike Kehoe was also there to show his respect. The family tells us they'll remember their daughter for her huge heart, her humor, and they say Wilson's baby Silas is now at peace beside his mother.
Want justice served for your daughter?
And for my grandson. Absolutely. Person that did this was a coward. She was defenseless.
Grow your relationship with your family. You're not with them for very long, so you don't know how much time you have. And I know people hear it all the time. It's you don't know how much time you have, but you really don't. And that's just the realization struck.
Lebanon police have not received an update where they are in their search for the shooter. However, the family says police and the Highway Patrol are actively tracking down leads. Now, if you have any information about this case, call 911. Last night, the suspect in the shooting of two Democratic state lawmakers and their spouses was taken into custody. Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband died while the other two victims are recovering. A makeshift memorial continued to grow today at the Capitol in St. Paul for Representative Hortman and her husband Mark, who were killed early Saturday morning. A second memorial honors surviving Representative John Hoffman. The suspect, Vance Bolter, is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree attempted murder. He is due in court this afternoon. Well, President Trump is attending the G7 gathering of some of the world's largest economies this week in Canada, but escalating tensions between Israel and Iran are weighing heavily on the summit. Natalie Brand has the latest.
President Trump is meeting this morning with Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney, the host country for this year's G7 summit, bringing together 7 of the world's top economies. But looming over the gathering, the conflict between Israel and Iran, now in its 4th day. An Iranian missile attack overnight damaged a synagogue in central Israel and a school building. Residential buildings were also hit. The U.S. consulate suffered minor damage and remains closed as a precaution. In Iran, thousands are fleeing Tehran. The health ministry reports more than 200 killed in Israeli military strikes so far. Before leaving for Canada, President Trump expressed hope for de-escalation.
Sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran were canceled over the weekend. CBS News has learned the State Department is instructing embassies nationwide to emphasize the message that the U.S. was not involved in the Israeli strikes on Iran. President Trump on social media also warned if the U.S. is attacked in any way by Iran, the full strength of the U.S. armed forces will come down at levels never seen before. CBS News has also confirmed reports that President Trump opposed an Israeli plan to kill Iran's supreme leader, conveying to Prime Minister Netanyahu it wasn't a good idea. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And a spokesperson for Netanyahu told CBS News the reports were false. And coming up, a sweet summer tradition. Community members roll up their sleeves for opening day at a local blueberry farm. We'll take you there for picking. And later, we're making lemonade poached salmon in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. A local blueberry farm held its opening day in Webb City Saturday morning. KOAM's Mitch Adams brings us more.
It's the first flush of berries, so they are loaded with blueberries. It's super easy to pick. It's like stripping grapes off of vines. I mean, they're just everywhere.
If you're purchasing blueberries in the 4 states, chances are that you're pulling them from a supermarket shelf. Bridgman Blueberry Farm opens their rows of blueberry bushes for the public to come pick.
So today is our opening day blueberry season. We're actually a couple weeks behind because of all the rain and lack of sunshine, but open today, people come and they pick their own blueberries and they pay by the pound.
Recent sunshine has ripened the berries enough to where they can be picked and eaten right from the bush. A tradition that started many years before new ownership, blueberry picking at the farm has been a staple for locals.
People have been coming here for years and years and years before we owned it. And before the owners, before us owned it, they've been coming here for generations to pick blueberries, to bring their family and everything. Yeah, the families just love coming out and doing it.
Being a family-oriented event, one of the main goals of the farm is to get kids to recognize where their food comes from.
I think it's important to get the kids involved, and they come out, they see the blueberries on the bush, and they kind of put it together that where, you know, that produce that's sitting in their fridge really actually comes from, and there's actually labor and work involved in getting it off the bush. And it's something for them to do, to get outside and not just be behind a screen as usual.
Yeah, no, they don't do that anymore.
In Webb City, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
According to Bridgman, some blueberry plants can take over 5 years to fully develop into a bush that you can pick from. And still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Fish so tasty, it's worthy of toasting with a big frosted glass of lemonade. It'll all make sense if you stay where you are. We'll be right back.
And after a pretty toasty day today, even hotter tomorrow and severe thunderstorm chances increasing. The latest when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So again, we had some patchy dense fog this morning for some folks. We had those cloudy skies this morning as well, so you can see from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh. And again, that's a look from earlier this morning when we still had some of those cloudy skies. Skies continuing to clear, and they will continue to do so through the rest of the afternoon. Nothing out there on Skywatch Storm Tracker from this morning. A few showers off to our east, and that's about it. But that is going to change as we head into Tuesday. So for the rest of today, again, an isolated shower, maybe a rumble of thunder, Barry, Lawrence counties, but again, even that chance is pretty low. The rest of us clear, warm, dry, not too bad. Temperatures pretty close to average for a lot of us. Then, after about 3 a.m., clouds will begin to increase, starting to see some shower chances out there. What we've got is some thunderstorms to our west that could be strong to severe. By the time they get here, they should not be that intense, but a strong or severe storm still may be possible as we go into tomorrow morning. Let's say anywhere from about 7 a.m. through noon or so. We'll have scattered storms through the day tomorrow. So again, not rain everywhere all at once, but we could have some storms, and a couple of those again could be strong to low grade severe. It won't be until after midnight tomorrow, going into early Wednesday morning. That's when we see our first real severe threats start to ramp up. So here's this complex coming in from the west again, entering around Yates Center, and so around 1 o'clock Wednesday morning. These storms very likely strong to severe. Now, damaging wind gusts are the primary concern, but unfortunately, with this complex initially, all hazards are possible. Now, as it continues to push off to the southeast, so here we are by 3 a.m., Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Parsons, Coffeyville, storms still could be strong to severe, even at 3 a.m., but as they begin to cross the state line and head south of I-44, they begin to weaken pretty quickly. So some strong storms possible, Veneta, Miami, Joplin, up toward Carthage, and then they'll really begin to just kind of turn into some showers, maybe a couple of rumbles of thunder as they get closer to Cassville, pushing into parts of Berry County. After that, we'll have scattered showers, so a few thunderstorms here and there through the day on our Wednesday. Not looking at anything too intense through the day on Wednesday. It won't be until late in the day again, by late afternoon, say 3, 4 o'clock, we get more showers and thunderstorms developing. Now, I want to talk about very quickly some discrepancies. The models for the storms going into early Wednesday morning, so late Tuesday into Wednesday, are pretty consistent on that complex pushing through. What's a little less consistent is thunderstorm development Wednesday afternoon. Now, this future track shows shower storms along and south of I-44 as we head into the afternoon and evening. However, some data suggests that this boundary that's going to trigger these storms may be further northwest by about 3 o'clock or so when the storms get going. And if that's the case, then we're looking at thunderstorms developing in southeast Kansas around 3 or 4 and then pushing south and east. So it's something we want to watch because that could alter the dynamics and the variables of our severe weather threat. So for tomorrow, again, after midnight, really, we've got a level 3 out of 5 risk for parts of southeast Kansas. But you see how quickly that drops off because that complex will be in a weakening state the further southeast it goes. And for Wednesday, just because there's some uncertainties as to where that line's going to develop, that level 2 out of 5 risk does stretch a little further back to the north and west. As for the threats on Tuesday, and again, really Wednesday early morning around 1 a.m. We have an isolated to scattered tornado risk. We also have an isolated to scattered hail threat out there. But again, it's that 3 out of 5 on the wind where we're looking at that potential for damaging wind gusts 70 miles an hour or greater as we go into very early Wednesday morning. So something we want to certainly keep an eye on. As for today, again, still looking for the mid to upper 80s, about 90 or so tomorrow, but humidity and dew point levels increasing, and that'll bring our heat index values close to 100 tomorrow. So do be cautious if you're outside working. Make sure you're staying hydrated. Pinch cooler on Wednesday thanks to the clouds and the rain, and then we dry out into the weekend. Temperatures climb right back into the low to mid 90s with some additional thunderstorm chances by next Wednesday. Elise?
Well, stick around. We're making lemonade poached salmon in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, if you're looking for a refreshing summer meal, then look no further than today's Mr. Food recipe. Howard is making lemonade poached salmon in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Are you ready to have some fun? I sure hope so, because today we're combining our love for homemade pucker-up lemonade with fresh salmon. I know you're thinking, that sounds odd, but once you see how this comes together, you'll be hooked. The first thing we're going to do is make a creamy lemon sauce by combining some mayonnaise with a bit of frozen lemonade concentrate that we thawed, along with a bit of black pepper. We'll set that aside for a sec while in a large skillet, we heat the rest of the lemonade concentrate with some water. Once it's boiling, we lower the heat and add our salmon fillets. You want to cook this until the fish flakes easily, which takes about 8 minutes. When it's done, it's ready to serve hot or cold with our homemade lemonade sauce. With only a handful of ingredients and it being done in less than 10 minutes, I can't think of a better summertime meal. To get the recipe for our lemonade poached salmon, all you need to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a surprisingly refreshing way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Of course, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, again today, mid-80s out there, clear skies, thunderstorm chances increasing though. As we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, some of those could be strong to severe. Also keep in mind tomorrow, temperatures into the 90s. Heat index values Tuesday could reach close to 100, so make sure you're staying safe. Of course, with those severe thunderstorms, we'll be keeping an eye on them as we roll through Tuesday and Wednesday, clearing out for the weekend.
All right, well, coming up tonight at 5, school is out in many parts of the country, but a new study confirms that the summer months are already stressing out many parents with concerns their kids won't get what they need for their mental health. Plus, Pitt Plastics breaks ground on a new expansion building, and Freeman Health Care invites middle school students to a career camp to experience hands-on learning with medical professionals. You can join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.